Hey everybody, Mark Johnson here, founder and creative director of Able Ape Studios, back with something I hadn't done in quite a while, and that's share with you a book I've read and give it a little review. In today's review, I'm talking about the book Contagious, Why Things Catch On by Jonah Berger. I chose this book to read based off the fact that it was on the list of books that the late great Nipsey Hussle had on his list. Well, seeing the list of books that he had on his list, I kind of, picked a few, and this is one of those that I decided to read. The book, straight off top, is a marketing book. Let's be real. It's about how things go viral, not necessarily on the internet, but through social, connection, be people to people, through the media, and it's kind of word of mouth connection. And so there's quite a few topics in there that I want to kind of jump into, but I just kind of do the normal stuff that I do in my book reviews, and I kind of explain how I felt about this book. And so at the top, it's very easy to read. I'm one of those people who like when the author gives examples, and then they also have either some kind of story or little anecdote that go along to further explain the point that they're trying to make. I like that. I like examples. And both the points that he's trying to make in this book and the stories that he used to explain are very easy to understand. I don't think it's too difficult to read in that sense, so he's not using a lot of big words or ideas, concepts that make it difficult for a person to understand what he's trying to talk about. So in that sense, it's very easy to read. I think even my first read through, I ended up reading it again. I put it down for a couple days or whatever it was, and then picked it right back up. And I was just going to, skim through it, look at the things that I underlined, the little points. I like to do that in my books, just kind of see something that, a quote or whatever that, like I said, I underlined, took a note on in the book, and just kind of started reading again, and then ended up reading the whole book all the way over again. So I think it's a good read. Again, it's a marketing type book, but I think at the same time, if you're just a curious type, you should find this very interesting. We live in a day and age of the internet and social media, and it kind of helps you better understand why things pick up and why we share certain things as a human race. And I think those things will kind of keep you engaged and throughout the whole book, and I think that's why I would suggest it for anyone to read. I mean, especially if you're in marketing, you should definitely read this. Advertising, definitely read this. Social media, definitely read this. So that's kind of where I'm at on that. And so as we kind of progress in this review, what I wanted to do is talk about some of the chapters, just kind of really briefly, not too in depth. I won't talk about the whole book, but I'll talk about first three chapters of this book that kind of help you get a better idea of the concept or the idea of why things go viral or why things catch on. And so the very first chapter is social currency. And to understand social currency, I'm sure we all have a friend that we go to for certain things because they're the person that knows what's happening in that area. Or you might have a friend that knows a lot of different areas, so you go to that person whenever you have a question about clothing, cars, finance. That person knows what's up. So in a sense, that person has social currency in the sense that you believe and go because of their opinion, what they're talking about. So that's the idea of social currency. And again, the most powerful marketing is personal recommendation. So in a sense, person's word of mouth, or the idea of the word of mouth is very high up when it comes to marketing. And as a people, we judge people based on the cars they drive, the clothes they wear, and the music they listen to. Whether you like it or not, that's how we as a people decide if that person has some form of social currency. I like the way it started off. This is the first chapter, so it starts off with this idea of social currency. From there, the book begins to talk about this idea of triggers. And we all know in this day and time, there's things that trigger people. Some may be good, some may be bad, maybe political, maybe a social justice kind of situation that you're feeling. But there's triggers out there, and so the book kind of delves in really quick to the idea of triggers. And here we go. So it says every day the average person engages in more than 16 word-of-mouth episodes, be they positive or negative, about an organization, a brand, or a service. See, so we as a people, we are already at that point where daily we're interacting with people and using our words or how we feel about something to share. Furthermore, if you give a person a good product, they're going to talk about it. So in a sense, if you create a good product, you're a person making a product or selling a service. If you give a good service, a good product to someone, they're going to talk about it. But at the same time, the flip side of that, obviously, if you give someone a negative product or a negative experience, they'll probably talk about it as much as well. Or then the chapter goes on to talk about this idea of word of mouth, and something that I didn't necessarily know, but there's immediate word of mouth, so it's happening right now, and there's ongoing word of mouth. And immediate word of mouth is when you're in that zone with the person, you're talking and you're going back and forth, and so that's in the moment, right? That's the immediate word of mouth. But there's also ongoing word of mouth, which happens hours, days, months later, that can kind of continue on from there. So maybe your initial conversation, the immediate word of mouth, was you're talking about something, product you just bought, but then as you use that product, your experience is different or develops, and now you have something different to talk about. So that's kind of the ongoing word of mouth. So the book goes on to talk about triggers specifically and what they are. And so this is what the book says. Triggers are like environmental reminders for related concepts and ideas. Another idea that they brought up in the book was the idea of top of mind, top of tongue. So if a person or a product or an experience can get on the top of your mind, it's usually going to be something that you're going to be talking about within that time frame. So that's the idea of how a trigger, in a sense, works. If it's on the top of your mind, you're going to talk about it. So to hit the nail on the head for the end of this chapter, entitled Triggers, it says, triggers are the foundation for contagiousness. So in a sense, a trigger is really what's going to be what makes you have the experience to share to somebody else. You're going to be triggered by something, and in that moment, top of mind, top of tongue, you're going to share it. So we're going into chapter 3, and already he's giving you a lot of good information to understand why things go viral, why we spread things, why things get contagious. Okay? So the 3rd chapter is entitled Emotions. And you know how emotions are. We all know how our own emotions are and how they affect how we react to certain things. So when we care, we share. That's just right off top. Chapter is talking about when we care, we share. And just think about that. When you care about something, you're more apt to share it. When you care about something, you're more apt to talk about it, and you're more apt to want other people to understand how important that is to you. To further this idea of emotions, we talk about awe. And this is what the book says about awe. Awe is the sense of wonder and amazement that occurs when someone is inspired by great knowledge, beauty, sublimity, or might. And just think about that. Let's just think about what makes us in awe of some things. Great knowledge. Someone in a spell a bee contest spells a word that we've probably never heard of, and we see how many words and syllables it has in it that makes us in awe of it. Or great might. There's an accident and someone lifts a car off somebody. In that moment, their might was awe-inspiring. It can go a lot of different ways. Or the beauty. And we talk about beauty. The most beautiful emotion we can experience is that of the mysterious. So mysterious. I can't necessarily think of anything that I would say is mysterious, but I know it when I see it, right? I can tell you, oh, that picture is, wow, that's very mysterious. That's beautiful. That's something that's causing me to be in awe of it. The commercials, the advertisements that we see are in a sense, kind of art pieces, or in a sense, their design is so intense. Because, or here's an example to kind of better further this idea that I'm trying to push across, is that rather than harping on features and facts, we need to focus on the feelings, the underlying emotions that motivate people to action. And that's kind of why I feel, like I said, commercials and advertisements are so design driven, because design is kind of like creating art. You know what I'm saying? That is visual. It's awe inspiring. And from there, it's going to make us more apt to action. And the action may be purchasing the item, or going to do what it says, or filling this out, whatever it may be. The idea of creating something beautiful, something that's going to be awe-inspiring, is going to make us move as a people to do what they want us to do. Another aspect of emotions that can inspire us to do something is humor or anger. Either of those are definitely prone to make us do certain things that the marketing, the advertisement is geared or created to make us do. So what Jonah Berger is showing us in this chapter is that emotion drive us to action. You know what I'm saying? So you put those 3 chapters together: social currency, triggers, and emotion. The rest of the book is a fly. It's a great journey. I was very curious from that point. And like I said, the first 3 chapters really had me hooked. I mean, I could say the first chapter had me hooked, but at that point I was really engaged in the book and what it was saying. Like I said, the examples were good. It was easy to read, and I actually read it twice. So that's my review, or has been my review on Jonah Berger's Contagious, Why Things Catch On. Like I mentioned earlier from the top, it's definitely a book I would recommend people reading who are curious about how things go viral, or why things go viral. So hopefully you like this book review. If you do, make sure to give this video a thumbs up. If you like what I'm doing with the channel, because you've seen other videos or you've seen other book reviews that I've done, make sure to subscribe. And if you have a comment or a question based off of this video that I've shared with you today, make sure to leave that in the comment box below. And then lastly, if you want to be updated on any upcoming videos that I post, make sure to ring that bell, because that will allow you to be notified when I drop my next video. But yeah, like I said, that's my book review on Contagious. I highly recommend it. Any books I've read, this is one of the books that I enjoyed, and also at the same time I had some good information that came in. So like we always do at this time, have a blessed day. I will see you on the flip side. Let's go.